As we continue in our series on reflections on memorization, David says in Psalm 34 and verse 7, "The angel of the Lord encamps all around those who fear him and delivers them." Now, we've already been introduced to the concept that David sought the Lord and the Lord heard him and delivered him from all his fears. So this psalm is definitely talking about the Lord, Jesus Christ, talking about God in heaven. And he says that this is described as the angel of the Lord. And he says this angel of the Lord encamps. This is the same word in the Hebrew for besiege, to surround on every side. And he says, referring back to that story of Elisha the prophet, which would come after David's time, where he was waiting with his servant and the army of the Assyrians were surrounding them. And as it came, he said, "Lord, open his eyes." And when God opened the eyes of his servant, he saw the armies of the Lord completely encircling them with chariots of fire. So the angel of the Lord encamps all around. But who is the benefit of that? It says those who fear him. Not your position, not your knowledge, not your connections, not if you've done everything right that particular day, but if you fear him. If you fear the Lord, you have the benefit of being encircled by the presence of Christ. And what can penetrate the wall of Christ except for that which Jesus allows? He upholds all things by the word of his power. There is no one greater than Christ. So that means whenever people want to attack us, they have to go through Jesus because we fear him. And he delivers us ultimately. And if there's no enemy, if there's no conflict, then there's no need for deliverance. So as you and I go through the various circumstances of life, we can be confident that whatever comes to us actually was allowed by Jesus for our good. And so I want to encourage you to fear the Lord. And as we go on in this series, we're going to explore more and more of what that means to fear God. Fearing God initially starts, as we've seen in the previous verses, with prayer, with seeking the Lord, with the humble who cry out to God. But you can trust that you have the presence of Christ surrounding you. And through that particular presence, you'll be kept from danger. It reminds me so much of how walking into a circumstance with one of my children, and I noticed that something was falling and immediately jumping on top of them to make sure that it didn't hit them. That was my way of surrounding them so that whatever would have wounded them ends up wounding me. And the greatest thing that could try to wound us is sin itself. And thankfully on the cross, it fell upon Jesus instead of us.